I'm that girl who is very reflective on her journey of what she's learned and what I've experienced along the way and all of those fun times in between. So I'm trying to adorn new colors in my garment palette because I know I can change and I know I can wear other colors if I choose to. And it just reminds me of an interview I did a few years ago with Frida Kahlo, that incredibly talented artist. And in the afterlife, she was expressing to me about how we must use colors in our range of clothes because it must, clearly from what we know now, from what I know now, is that the frequency vibrations of colors do have an impact. I'm not trying to say that black has a negative, or, we always sort of go to these assumptions like, right, the light is white and the dark is black and blah, 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 blah. And so, totally off topic anyway from what I was going to talk about, which I think is quite important for everyone to start understanding, because this is big information coming through. So anyway, I don't know why I'm fussing over the colors, but I can change and grow, and I can honor other people's information in terms of what Frida Kahlo said, which is live life, don't be shy, be bold, enjoy the colors, own the colors. And this is a representation. Our bodies, our mindsets are what are experiencing this life, and our vehicle, our bodies are the way that we represent ourselves to the world. So if we're trying to be invisible, what's that inner work reminding us of? Are we afraid to stand out? Are we afraid to draw attention to ourselves? Or are we opposite? Do we love attention for ourselves? And what are our motives? We must be asking ourselves constantly, what are our motives? Because we're trying to understand who we are and trying to feel into what we do and why, for us to be able to just be able to love ourselves honestly. It is totally fine if you're a big attention seeking person, but why? Why are you doing that? Is it because you've got a massive high frequency vibration that can uplift people, and so therefore it's part of your service to be that big show pony, or are you that person that seeks out those silent others, and by you observing others you can see where the shy kids are in the class the class of life, and find them that way. And so again, I was expressing about how we are like for like. And so whatever we attract like for like, I should say. And often we are, we're constantly trying to raise our vibrations and expand. And as we do, we have new people that kind of are attracted to us energetically because they are a matching frequency, and that is great. And as they were sort of saying the other day in that session, where it's like you're in this running race marathon, and we're all running together at the same pace, which is fantastic, but some of us may want to take another route or go at a different pace, and that's completely fine. But we can't sort of tie into each other as if we're doing those two man-legged races, because when we do that with our spirituality and our journey, we can stumble over each other accidentally, and it can limit us accidentally as well. Even though it's super fun to do things together with friends and our loved ones and all that sort of stuff, sometimes this truly is an individual journey. And so anyway, trying to get to the point, so I'm wanting to do a public session soon. I've been doing quite a few private ones behind the scenes, and so this information that's coming out is very interesting, and it's going to piss off quite a few people. Let's just be honest. And so it seems really appropriate what I was trying to talk about yesterday with the judging. And as I have said many times, and as they have said many times in sessions, every collective has a different purpose and reason and experience they want to have being here on earth. And so we know that, right? Like, yeah, we're mature, we don't judge, we accept all life contracts, all that stuff, because we've heard it so many times. And now we have to apply it. Gosh, we all are masters at the theory of all these sessions and information, and then having to apply it takes a minute. And that is fine, because we are all allowed to have our first knee-jerk reaction of hell no, and then processing it through, and then figuring out how does it feel for us, and what does it mean for us, and all that fun stuff, to have the roller coaster emotions of everything. So I'm going to get to the point. I trust people who are listening are those people who resonate with this information and resonate with the way I'm trying to deliver this information. Those people who are triggered because they feel like, she's telling me what to do. You've got inner work to do, because if you're threatened by what I am saying, and if you're feeling like I am demanding and telling you off and blah, 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 that is a lot of inner work you've got to work through, because I'm not trying to reprimand anyone. I am truly trying to empower people. But sometimes when we have to be on that road of empowerment, we've got to be freaking honest with ourselves. And lots of people don't want to be honest with themselves. Lots of people want to just assume, if I don't master this lifetime, I'll have heaps of other reincarnations here, no big deal. I'm not interested in being of service, and I just want to sit here and judge and be massive grump to everyone because I'm fed up being here and I want to leave. And so I meet those people often, and that is fine. That's exactly where they're at. But we are here to be of service. And the world isn't revolving around us. And when we sign up to be of service, to be able to help others, we are meant to be doing that. And so what does it truly look like to be of service to others? Briefly, seeing people, seeing their eyes, loving them, respecting them. If they abuse us, we can lovingly say, we would like respect, thank you. We can use our voices to express what we would like in the interactions if it becomes heated. But we're not seeking out for arguments. We're seeking out how to love people. We are seeking out those people that are so confused and scared and worried about the world. We are trying to remind them strangers actually can love us and support us and heal us with just listening and respecting us and making us feel overcome that stranger danger. We're adults. We're not trying to do anything to anyone else apart from love the crap out of each other. And sometimes it's hard work because they're not wanting to be loved. And so, saying hello with genuine, hope you're having a fantastic day. It's not threatening. In fact, it's empowering, because they're going to be thinking, why is she or why is he all in joy? What's up with him? What's that secret? How come they have inner peace when the world's going to hell? So we all sort of think, God, we must be having to do all these courses, read all these books, be masters at helping and being of service. And yet what we've kind of discovered in these sessions is having just a simple, single conversation with someone, to really be there to listen, to support them, hear them, and love them. That's it. It is not complicated. Actually, it's quite fun. It's really nice to be able to listen to someone and get to know your community individually, loving them fully. I mean, that's so easy, but yet we always try to complicate things. Isn't that what Dolores Cannon would constantly say? Oh, it's so easy, and yet we try to overcomplicate things. Our little monkey minds are trying to make this so hard for us. We don't even feel like we're possibly capable or skilled enough to be of service. And yet we've been communicating with each other this whole time. We're very comfortable with being kind people. And so what if we just labeled being of service as being kind to people? Actually care about the people who are serving you. We're not their slave, we're not their owners. Just because we're having a financial transaction doesn't mean we own them and that they have to serve us. They're doing their job. Why can't we be doing our jobs as humanitarians and actually love them and appreciate them, truly ask them, how are you doing? Oh, I'm totally fine, but how are you doing? Because we all know when they get in that role of, hi, how are you doing today? They're saying it as a routine, And when we actually snap them out of their routines to remind them, hey, you're talking to a person and I'm fine, but I'm confused and curious about how you're doing, because you must see a lot of stuff happening. How is everyone else going? And so I often ask that to the checkout chicks and gentlemen. How are you going, and how is our community going? What are they processing now? Because, we know that the world's interesting, so what are you seeing? Because they are front line. They see it all. And they will be so keen to open up and share. And when you start having those conversations with these people, you suddenly get the difference very quickly of what their corporate professional statements are versus what their personal statements are, and you know that there's so much difference. So I like to be able to have true, real conversations with people, and it seems like every time I'm leaving the house now, I'm having these really deep and meaningfuls with people quite quickly now, which I think, okay, this is a conversation we need to be having to support them for whatever reasons, and it will all make sense after the exchange or the transaction of the conversation. But it's so purposeful, and we are trying to rush through life so fast that we are missing all of the opportunities to be of service. And so many people have assumptions that it looks like something else. And so could it possibly be really simple in just terms of the people we meet during our days, the people we're chatting to online, the people that we're stumbling over online, these interactions, whether they're physical or non-physical, are still purposeful. And so what are we doing? Are we being the best humanitarian service to others that we could be? I know sometimes we're not in the mood, or we're too busy, or too shy, or whatever the reasons are. But again, if we reach out to these people and let them know that they're not alone, that they're completely supported and loved, and whatever their belief systems are, we're not trying to convert anyone. We're trying to help people understand that we can love each other with different belief systems. We can love each other with different flavored tastes. We can love each other with different garment tastes. We get this, right? We totally get this. And so are we seeing how we used to limit ourselves and disconnect ourselves from others, and now do we see a difference? Do we see the change that we're making in ourselves because we want to be able to connect? And so I'm getting to the point, I promise. So the information I'm getting is that all of the collectives are here. And so, we know the story of we've come from source, we have higher selves, we have subconsciouses, we have a whole group of teams to support us. And we've got a lot of history. Our subconsciouses and our higher selves have a lot of history. They have done so much stuff. And so what we know from our history of planet is that there was a lot of friction, and there was a lot of different beings doing different things for different lessons and agendas and, purposeful all experiences. We do know that some of their experiences and their approaches were deeply impacting others in a really negative way, because it was cutting short their life contracts and introducing terror and introducing fear and being real menaces. And so we all know that there needs to be the good and the bad to be able to grow from those experiences, but there is lessons and purposes, to grow through. And then there's this kind of like this menace, and these beings were just doing things that were really self-serving just to their collective and not really caring about others. Very destructive, but not from their perspective. Their perspective was they're living their best lives, whereas those who were being impacted by their choices were struggling and starting to get really bitter and traumatized, and it wasn't ideal. However, it is all purposeful in terms of the lessons and experiences. But here on earth, we are all here to heal together, overcome all of the past, and to find unity in our collective communities. So It's interesting, isn't it, when we all know what all the different collectives could look like. We're aware that the Palladians look a certain way, that the Arcturians look a certain way, and that the Greys look a certain way, and the Reptilians look a certain way, and the Draconians look a certain way, and they love the way that they look. They choose these lifetimes time and time again because that's where they're most comfortable in their skin, shall we say. So, shall I say, I'm feeling like I'm trying to channel them. They're trying to channel through me, and I'm trying to speak to you as a human with my emotions and like consideration of all of these things. And then I'm feeling like they're trying to come. So, thank you for not judging me. I really appreciate it because the learning curve is still real. So for me in this new format. Anyway, so what they're trying to say is so all the collectives needed to come and have this human experience, and as we know, one collective has still a range of their own. I don't want to say this, I hate these labels, but I'm just going to make it really simple just so we can get over this and understand what the frick I'm talking about. So every collective has good and bad, right? In terms of, I really hate that and it's not right, so sorry, you know what I mean. So every collective has a range of personalities, let's just say that. And so some of those personalities want to be responsible, and some of those personalities just want to just do their own thing and be reckless and not really consider others, and their actions have reactions to others and consequences. And so, as you know, with families, we've got all different types of personalities, and we still love each other and we still want the best for each other. And so the collectives, and I'm going to talk about one collective, and this will trigger so many people, I feel, because we are used to thinking that these are the bads. And they're not. They're just having their own life experiences, and we have to respect that they have rights to live too, and they have rights to do what they want to do too. It's just unfortunate that they're not able to sort of see beyond themselves. And I mean, we know that as people, that sometimes when you're hurt, you're so hurt that you can only look within and try to get all the attention and support and understand what's going on for you, and you're completely oblivious to the rest of the world. And just before I say the collective's name, we know that we've heard in sessions that humans eat meat and don't care about the life cycle of their animal, and how it may be really challenging and quite traumatic for that soul to experience being slaughtered, to be then a delicacy on your plate. And so then we are also being told in a session how we can mow our lawns obliviously, just thinking we're just doing one thing. We're just going to cut the grass. And so here we are with our only intention of cutting the grass, and completely oblivious to us, we have also, destroyed and killed a few little insect colonies and things like that accidentally, because we've just run them over and destroyed them, obliterated them. And this is what we have been hearing from in sessions, other collectives. They're like, oh, we were just mowing the lawns, and we didn't realize that there was others there that were impacted on. And sorry but not sorry, we have got this mission, we wanted to tidy up our lawn, and they're not able to see that there was others there. So, not excusing, just the messenger, but we can see that we have all driven our cars and hit bugs. And so are we, we're not even we're completely oblivious to some of the things that we do ourselves. Does it make us bad people? Are we constantly trying to look and seek and search and destroy? Sometimes we are. Sometimes we don't want aphids on the roses, and so we will spray them and be really regretting it for months and months and months and months afterwards and think, what a monster. But did I consider the life cycle and the life contracts and the experiences of those aphids? No. It was selfish. I wanted my roses to be attacked by them. So yeah, inner work, but for me. Anyway, the reptilian collective. So they have done some things that were not empowering other species, and they wanted to just empower themselves. And that's totally fine for them, totally fine. But they did sort of just get out of control, and they got greedy with their control and their force. And because other species and other beings were really peaceful, and they were not in this disbalance of aggression and control and manipulation, really they just wiped so many planets. And menaces is a judgmental word, but they did really negatively impact many others. And I've had so many sessions off planets where they have been destroyed by being overtaken by the reptilians, who just felt like everything was free for all, and that they owned everything, and that they deserved to seek and destroy and kill and eat and all this sort of stuff, because this is a sport for them. This is how they like to live their lives. And so while it's not everyone's choices, so coming back to the whole purpose of what I'm trying to tell you. So the collectives have wanted, so some of the collectives have wanted to come into humanoid bodies on Earth to experience what it is like to be human and amongst many different collectives, and actually start having things like love and entitlement, and this connection of, you're not here to destroy and seek each other, you're actually here to grow and love and be responsible for each other and feel each other and connect with each other. And so it's taken them out of their hunting, and it's putting them into routines and into these human lives. And because people aren't judging them, because they just look like us, and they just seem like us, and we're all just one, but yet we've all come from different experiences, to be here, to be able to teach them things that they would not be able to be taught if they were in their own planets. And so they've already been able to master everything they wanted to on their own planets, and it isn't giving them the joy, and it isn't giving them the evolution and the growth that they're actually wanting and seeking. And so they have opportunities to come to Earth and be able to fit in with everyone and start being loved by, say, the Palladian collective, and being loved by, say, those who have had the fairy lives, and those who have had all different other lives. And so they are learning, they are merging themselves around all these other collectives so they can learn and grow from each other. And so they ultimately do want, as a collective, to evolve and grow, but it's baby steps for them as well. And so they are still processing it. They are still tasting whether they sort of like this approach, and whether they want to, they do want to grow. They do want to evolve. They still want to stay in the same bodies, and they still want to have, their own cultures and their ways of life. They still want that, because that is their familiarity, that is their home, that is their joy, that is what they love. But they want to be able to evolve with bigger mindsets, and to be more considerate, and to be more back with love, more back with source, and have compassion. And they are sort of worried that if they start evolving, that they're going to not have their way of life. We love habits. We all do. We love routines. We love habits. And if this is what you have always been doing this way, and then they're sort of saying, well, it feels like when you look at the collective, there is a whole lot of more wiser, mature, enlightened reptilian souls who are saying, we want to go here now. We've explored this. We can't expand anymore on this. We've done this. This was great and wonderful while we were doing it, and we can appreciate it. And look at us in our past, just like how we are looking at our past as well in this lifetime, and seeing how much we've grown. And it's almost like they're afraid to step into this new growth, because they don't want to leave their old behind. And what they're trying to say, that they're within their own collectives, they're trying to say growth is good, evolution is good. And this will help them. They want to be able to get to the fifth dimension. They want to be able to evolve with their species, and they truly love their way of life, just like humans. Well, us humans. I mean, we're all from different collectives, but we all are assuming, just for the sake of this experience on earth, that we all are the same. And that is fine. We are truly all the same, but we all have our own kind of teams. And that is fine. It is, it's all we were born into different teams. We were created to be in different teams for those experiences. And now a lot of the collectives are wanting them to evolve and to grow. And it's taking a lot longer than they were expecting. And so anyway, of course, the reptilians aren't, the only ones that have not been mindful for others. There's also been the draconians. And as we know, the draconians really manipulated and controlled and coerced the reptilians to do their kind of bidding. And so we know that there is a difference between a true physical reptilian who lives for hundreds of years and looks more kind of like what I would sort of consider a lizardy, dinosaur-y looking thing. And of course there's lots of different aspects of them too, so it's not just the one looking thing, just like humans don't just look like the one looking thing, or should I say the hybrinoid bodies that we are living in. Anyway, God, it feels like this is so complicated. I'm trying to get it out easy without triggering you. Anyway, we will get there. Sorry, this is serious, and this is why we're here. So we were supposed to have shifted a long time ago, and we all know that. And so what they have done is that they tried to expand upon this to see how things would go, because once they close the chapter on Earth and that Gaia fully goes into her new body because she is reincarnating, that will be the end of her life cycle experience on Earth. And so the collectives are wanting to wrap it up and kind of seal that history as this is the way it went. Right now, it's kind of like a book where you pick a path and you choose different directions and all this sort of stuff, and then you'll get to the ending somehow. And that's how I would like to describe like timelines. Right now, we're at pick a path times, where we think we're about to get there, and then like, oh no, we decide to go to another journey that's going to take longer, but there's great lessons there, and we think it's going to be easier, but then it turns out to be hard. But silly us, who could have known that if we didn't follow our collectives, we would take the long road. Anyway, so right now they're wanting to finalize the book of Earth, and it's still playing out. So it's kind of like the last bit of the chapter of Earth is sort of being written as we speak. But because of the fantastic magical thing of time, they get to see all the different timelines, how it evolves if these certain things play out. And so from their perspective, they see all the branches of time and see how it unfolds. And sometimes they think, yes, fantastic. Oh, shoot, burgers. Now there is something else that we didn't factor in, and now that the future is looking topsy-turvy, and this isn't the best for all. And so what it seems to be, and I'm going to confirm this in many more sessions, I should say, is that in one timeline we did shift, and it was all fantastic from that aspect, so that was great. But what they didn't account for is that the reptilian starseeds, so there is a difference between the physical dinosaur-looking reptilian lizardy thing, with much love and respect, versus, I wouldn't even know how to describe it, Arcturian or Palladian, so I'm truly not trying to judge. And remember, we're not trying to judge here, we're trying to be open-minded, to be able to be respectful of all life contracts and all purposes for why we are all here. And so, get there, sorry. So then there is those reptilian soul essences who are in the humanoid bodies, what we would probably call reptilian starseeds, right? So they are trying to evolve from being one way, and they are now trying to not kill, and they're trying to work out other ways to live and thrive, but they still have this tendency, and it's almost kind of like their personalities to they have different they like different choices. And so they like to run big companies, they do like to be leaders in their fields, but it's not always to empower people. It can often be to disempower people, because they do have this this hunter instinct still. And so I'm super generalizing, okay, so please forgive me. I'm trying to explain this as simply as I can. And so this is why we have a lot of, or had a lot of star seeds for the reptilians who were really great at their fields. And so they, and every collective needs influencers. Every collective needs the way showers to be able to help them, to be able to make sense for them, for their needs and experiences. And so anyway, so they're trying to learn different ways of life and trying to be supported and surrounded by other collectives that they may not have always been working well with. And so with the veil over them, they've forgotten this angst as they're just living and learning from each other and respecting each other, which is a really beautiful thing when you can not be triggered with the fact that I just said reptilians. So anyway, so the timeline they saw was really great, but because the reptilian starseeds cannot shift into the fifth dimension because they can't physically do it, they don't have the frequency to, they don't have the capacity to hold that frequency. And so when they shift, they'd be going to another 3D planet, and we've named those planets, and sometimes they'll go to source or they'll go somewhere else, and that is totally fine. And so this is why a lot of people won't be able to tell you about the new Earth being a different planet, because it's not where they're going. And so you can only get information that's sort of privy to you, really, and appropriate to you. And this, when you're doing these quantum sessions, you only get the information that you can handle, that is really privy and important to you. And so remember that when you're listening to these sessions, and factor in who the collective is, and also try to figure out somehow how much inner work they've done, because those people have got a lot of inner work. That's a reflection on what the subconscious is ready to tell them, because the subconscious wants them to be using these sessions to be able to reflect and deal with their inner work and work on that, and to follow their recommendations on how to be the best of service, and to follow our life contracts and purposes, and really step up to who we are and why we came here. I'm sorry for the waffle. I really, truly am. So in terms of what happened is the old Earth experience is super important. So the old Earth experience was to let those people who may have done other destructions and certain things off planet in different lifetimes to be here to experience the destruction of this planet somewhat, as most people are shifting and there is huge challenges here on Earth. And so the old Earth experience was to teach them through physical experiences that were impacting themselves of what it would feel like to lose some family. And we know that most people still don't want to talk about death and the death cycle, because it still feels like it's a really taboo thing. And this is what has made me realize just yesterday actually, that part of our being of service is to support those who lose loved ones. And remember, often we can ask them, what are your thoughts on reincarnation? And they will shut that down instantly, because they are still trying to process the tragedies of death. And so it may not be the right time to talk to them about it then. But have we considered actually having a conversation with someone who doesn't believe in reincarnation? How do we support them through the death process of them grieving and understanding and making sense out of it? Because it's so easy to talk to spiritual people about the death process, because we all intellectually know that this isn't the one and only lifetime we get. So we almost need to sort of practice having a conversation with people about that, respecting their belief systems, but how do we truly support someone who doesn't believe in reincarnation when they think that's it, they're gone, forever, lost, we'll never get it back? And as we know, as soon as we think we can't get anything back, it's all done, we pine for it, we want it so much more. We may have neglected it for years, and as soon as it goes, oh no, it was my favorite. So it's so interesting how we behave. And as soon as we feel like something's been taken from us, we want it desperately. And I feel like this is happening with the food shortages right now. Our collectives are guiding us to require less food because our bodies are changing at a rapid rate. You may notice it or not, but we're not actually needing the food that we want, the food quantities that we used to. And a lot of the foods were really damaging to our bodies. And so while many people want to freak out and say, stockpile, stockpile, the reality is, if you ask your teams what you need to be doing, they're not going to be yelling at you to stockpile at all. And so it's very purposeful and significant. Everything, I promise you, everything that may look like a real problem for humanity is got beautiful, profound purpose from the high dimensional perspectives. They can see things much more than our reactionary, worry, fear state. So anyway, okay, side road. Okay, so the whole thing with, so moving forward, the old earth experience is super, super, super significant for those lessons, to be able to find a true support for each other. And it wasn't just going to be the reptilian collectives that were going to be here. It was those who were truly of service, to be able to love and support and inspire and encourage love, unity, community, and really come together and be a very tight, close family while they are survivors from this really intensive experience that they will have all witnessed and experienced during this old earth time. So what it seems to be is that in one big strong timeline, the shift occurred and the reptilian star seeds were on their path of mission to learn and explore and experience this stuff, and as well as a whole lot of other collectives. But then something not so fantastic happened. So then the Anunnaki came and became involved with their experience on the old earth, and instead of empowering them and healing them so then they could move to future lifetimes and really be able to embrace the lessons and know that from their actions had reactions and there was responsibilities, and the collapse of a planet kind of was on a lot of those beings, not just earth but other planets as well. So remember, what we're all having to overcome this lifetime is a collection of all the things that we may have not learned from in other lifetimes. And many of us are never going to come back into a 3D reality dimension again. And so this is kind of like cram packing all of these experiences that our soul wants to learn and grow from. So super significant, super purposeful. I know that they always say that, and I almost like roll my eyes like, oh sure, it's purposeful, but you know, I know it would be helpful if they explained all the purposes of these things happening, and you know, that would make it, you know, explain what is purposeful about this. But there are so many purposes for it, and we have to trust, because they've never said, oh, it's bad news. It's all like, oh, this is a new growth of extensions. This is a new extension of growth. So anyway, the old earth experience was kind of hijacked, and then they were turned into, it wasn't good, my friends. It wasn't good for anyone here, because it wasn't to help them empower themselves to find that unity and master the 3D emotions. They just stumbled across a new way to be enslaved. Now, no collective needs to be enslaved, okay? Doesn't matter what you've done. And so how can you overcome your own experiences and then have that to kind of not empower you? And so it feels like the lessons for old earth is so crucial and so important and so significant for the other timelines that they are seeing and how that all unfolds. And so everyone needs to have the experience of realizing that compassion for others is really profound. And when you're being entrapped and enslaved, it's really hard for them to be able to learn from that, because they're so angry and so traumatized by it that then they need extra further healing. And so it feels like the collectives are all trying to work together to figure out how can they truly get these people from all these collectives. I know when I say people it's confusing, because you know, what collectives are you truly talking about, Joanne? So anyway, I'm trying to get there, but I want to summarize it without not explaining it. And so I'm trying to tell you the purpose of these things. And so the delay of the shift now is to be able to make sure that we empower the reptilians to not fall victims to being entrapped and enslaved again, because they have had this repeat cycle from many other lifetimes on this planet and others. And so we're trying to get those who are responsible to entrap them for their own purposes to also find that they have responsibilities, and that they mustn't be disrespecting other collectives and mustn't be using others for their own control and their own manipulation. And so I guess, you have to be able to be at a mature level to stop manipulating people. And, so instead of just saying, stop manipulating people, you naughty kids, we can't say that. They have to learn at the consequences and to grow and heal, because at some point people manipulate others because it's happened to them, or they haven't addressed their own inner work. And so this is what I want to be exploring, is who are those who are wanting to enslave and entrap others, and what is going on for them? What is their motivation for that? Because we're all trying to be responsible to love everyone and support everyone. And if we go, oh, those naughty whatever, and be angry and hateful and pissed off and all that sort of stuff, it bothers our energy field. Absolutely. We're not, when we get told by the collectives to love everyone, they're not saying, oh, love everyone but the reptilians. They are saying loving everyone, including the Anunnaki, including all. We have to love them. But of course, we're not condoning their bad behavior. I said bad behavior, and that's very judgmental. But it's time for them to be really responsible and see and be impacted. So, with their own choices, because we can have bad behavior all day long and not care how it affects others, but we will suddenly care when it starts impacting us. And so it sort of feels like this is why the whole premise of the Old Earth experience was for it to impact them, for them to experience it firsthand, what it would feel like to be disconnected from your home and to have collapsed systems and be really scared, and then be able to kind of find your way into a spiritual connection. Because often when people are so overwhelmed, you shut down. You may start praying to a God you don't even believe in beforehand. It's so purposeful, the Old Earth experiences. And when I started hearing about the difference between Old Earth and what New Earth is, I used to judge. Oh gosh, people are staying on the Old Earth. Shame, shame, shame. We know your names. Really immature about it, because I made this really stupid assumption that those who were staying on the Old Earth were bad and naughty people, and they were not privy to this, paradise, New Earth experience. I was completely wrong with that. And so I had to mature myself and understand that the lessons for Old Earth is fantastic, and it does save so many more future planets and future connections and beings, because the lessons here are perfect. But when they were being controlled and manipulated and enslaved, it really took the hopes from all the collectives by surprise. They were sort of like, are you kidding me? We've already done this. And so trust that heaps of things are happening behind the scenes to find out what the sticking point is, and who is responsible for this control, and who was going to negatively impact those living on the Old Earth to stop them from having what was truly the intention of those experiences. Given the fact that we know that in life contracts, those people who have wanted the Old Earth experiences have got it all mapped out, and their teams are very prepared to help them with that experience for those lessons and growths and blah, blah, blah. And so the teams, the collectives are having all these big meetings and sort of saying, we want to honor these life contracts to have that true, pure, fantastic Old Earth experience, because it's so profound. And those lessons truly, 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 truly help so much of our future lives and future experiences. And so this is the delay. We are wanting to empower everyone, including all collectives. And so we know that those who we suspect could be from the reptilian collectives, we want to label them and judge them and poo-poo them and, view them as not human, almost like second-class citizens. And the thing is, no, we are here to love all because we're all from source. They've just got different experiences that they want to have. They want the harder challenges. They want to overcome so much more. So I feel like we can respect their life contract. We can respect our life contracts. And empowering everyone, loving everyone, accepting everyone who is trying to grow, who is trying to evolve, who is trying to better themselves and to better others is truly what we need to have that maturity and that perspective of. And so this is the delay, my friends. And so who knows how long it takes the collectives to give these people epiphanies and to empower them. But trust that when we shift, it will be the best for all. All. And so, I have true faith that they have got things really well under their guides. They're very focused on this, but we have to be of service on the ground. That's why we're here in these bodies, being the compassionate, kind, caring people that we are, to be able to connect into those people, to be able to spark those seeds that there is hope, there is joy, there is love, there is friendship, there is true respect. And so I know we are all struggling day to day with some of the things that we are given, which looks like fear and impacts us in a really negative way. So I'm wondering how everyone's feeling about this, because I think if I had said right from the get-go, guys, the shift's delayed because the reptilians are going to be oppressed and so we have to be here more to support them, most people that I know from when I see like Facebook pages and stuff, they would be like, the reptilians, I don't care, we're out of here, and I'm so sick of being here, blah 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 blah. And yes, you can have that instant reaction and I can understand that, but that's a real knee-jerk reaction, guys. So we have to trust that those souls are still loved by source. Gaia loves them still. How do you remember that full-on session where I was in my immaturity asking, can we just shift? So many people are struggling and suffering. Please, please, please. This is too painful for us now. And Gaia was like, oh, not without all of my children. I'm waiting for all of my children to grow. I'm waiting for all of them to find that epiphany, to find that higher frequency. And so she was holding on in great challenge to be supportive of all. Now, if she could do that, we definitely can step up and to be more respectful for all too. And if you're feeling overwhelmed with this and frustrated and not wanting to be of service for a certain collective, this is your inner work, my friends. So that I'm trying to share with you the information that we're getting, and I'm hoping that me over mansplaining this, and I'm so sorry, can spell it out in simple forms for us to be able to understand what the frick is going on and what's happening. So sorry for the really long session. I did not mean to over explain it, but I didn't want to just stumble it out for us to have that really big knee-jerk reaction and feel pissed off. So okay. Well, I will share some sessions soon on the other channel. It feels like a really personal, reflective time to be able to see what's happening next. And when I'm learning from all these sessions, I'm wanting to be able to make sure I'm asking the right questions to be able to get the best leverage out of our free will to be able to get the support from the collectives. So not all of it's always going to be public, because it doesn't need to be public at all. Just trust that everything behind the scenes here and everything behind the scenes in the collectives is very purposeful for the best interest of all, so everyone can have a really positive experience moving forward, because we all know that we have totally done and experienced all the densities of abuse, control, manipulation, all this stuff. So we are wanting that to be left here on this planet and this experience. Obviously it's not going to be physically left here, but you know what I mean. We're not wanting to expand that and take those range of emotions and those attitudes and behaviors beyond here. And so this is it. This is why we're all here to teach and learn, is to master the range of 3D and overcome it and leave it here. The lessons done here. Moving forward lives has more maturity, more responsibility, more connections. So this is truly what we want. So we want to make sure it's completely overcome here and not dragged out across all the universes still. Okay, big times. Much love to you guys. I truly hope that this was not as mansplaining, but I feel like it was. So just, sorry. I'll get better at this, I promise. Okay, have a fantastic day.